Hi, this is Jacek, and in this PHP security tutorial I'm going to give you sort of a general tip that applies to pretty much everything in PHP, well, in terms of security. And that is to essentially not trust any information provided by the user. So we're going to be sort of demonstrating this by using this example here. And this is essentially a very, very basic like image view page for a gallery or like a social networking site or anything like that. Anything where the user has albums with images in them. And what we've got here is like the page where they click on the image and then it comes up bigger. And obviously because this image is owned by the current user, they have this option to delete it. And this links to, if you look at the bottom of my browser window, it links to deleteimage.php, and then it sends the image name via a get variable. And then if we just go to the code for that page, which is here, you can see that what this page does is check to see if that image name is set. If it is, it also checks to see if the file exists in the images folder, and if it does, then it just deletes it. So this could be, for example, this could be a folder of just this current user's images. So this wouldn't be all of the all users on the system's images. It could just be the current user. Just for the purpose of this, I've just called it images, but this isn't really a very real-world like example anyway. So anyway, the point here is that anyone with access to this system could use this to delete basically any file on the server, because they can just change this variable to sort of point the script, sorry, to sort of any file. So for example, if we just go back to our code or our page, so yeah, sorry, okay, we'll go here. And if we just click on this link, you'll see what happens. Nothing happens because, well, we just go to this URL. But if we just go back and hit reload, you can see that image has disappeared. And if I just look in the folder, so these are the two pages, if I just look in this folder, you can see that this file has now gone. So the problem is that people can use this, like I said, to delete basically any file. So just to test this, I'm going to go back to our root folder, and I'm going to create a new file. It's just going to be empty, so let's just call it test, and it can have no contents. And then we can use our delete image script to actually delete this file, even though it's not in the images folder. So let's go back to our browser, just click this link again to get to the right page, and from the images folder, this test.php is up one directory, so 2 dots and a slash, and then it's just test.php. Hit enter. Now if we go back to our folder and reload it, you can see that this test.php file has gone. So obviously this is something you don't want to happen basically, and it's caused by just assuming that the variable here, getImage, is actually the name of an image in the images folder. And when you make sort of assumptions like that, it's well, things generally go quite badly wrong. So the tip here, or the point of this video, is that you should always think about what could potentially happen if the user supplied something that you were not expecting. So basically you need to expect something that you don't expect, which is, well, it's impossible, but you need to try and think of what could, well, like I said, what could happen if something else was supplied. So here you want to make sure that the user is only deleting something from this images folder. So the solution is to, well, it's the same solution as the template system security video, and that is to first get a list of all of the files in the images folder and then compare getImage against it. And the other tip here is to make sure that however you check the however you check to see if this variable is valid or if it's sort of an attempt to do something bad, you need to do that without any input from the user as well. So you couldn't, like we've done here, you couldn't just use file exists to check to see if the file exists in the images folder, because this also comes from the user. It's the same variable, so they get control over the check to see if what they've given is valid, which is not good. You need to make sure that what you're doing to check to see if the information is valid is not influenced by the user. In like a real-world example of this, you would most likely have a check to a database to see if that user actually owns that image, and then you would only delete it if they do. But for this, what we can do is basically it's the same again. So we can get a list of files by using this scan.dir function, and we're getting the list of files in the images folder. And then because the scan.dir function returns a dot and a double dot as the first two elements to indicate the current folder and the folder above, we need to remove those because they're not files, they're folders. So we'll just do unset files 0 to unset the first one, and files 1 to remove the second one. And then we can replace this file exists check with an in array check. So we'll use in array here, and what we're going to check for is the get variable that they've supplied, which is image, and then the array we're checking in is the files array. And now this will only allow them to delete a file that is actually in that folder, because they have no control over this list of files. The only thing they can control is this, and if that's not in this list, this won't run. This won't run. So we can test this again. If I just go back to my sort of folder here and create a new test file, so let's just call it the same thing, and go back to our browser and reload this page, and then go back to our folder and reload that, you can see that the test file still exists. But if we just go into our images folder and put the image back, like so, and then go back to our browser and go back to the view image page, you can see that this image does exist, it's here, and if we just click delete and then go back and reload again, you see that image has been deleted. So now this is only allowing things to be deleted that are actually in that folder, regardless of what the user enters. I mean, they could enter anything in this get variable and it still wouldn't work, because they have no control over this list of files, like I said. So the point here is just to make sure you validate your inputs from the user in a way that they sort of don't have control over. Okay, so thanks for watching, and hopefully this was useful.